KEET contributor Ryan Hutson brings us a report from a recent town hall event hosted by the Institute of Justice that offered local folks a chance to address alleged county cannabis abatement issues. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. Top of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Faulk. Thanks for joining us. We've got a packed show tonight and absolutely no time to waste. The Institute for Justice held a recent town hall at the Mateel Community Center in Redway, offering a forum for local residents and activists to discuss Humboldt County's controversial cannabis abatement policies. The Institute recently filed a federal lawsuit against the county because of alleged abatement abuses, claiming that the county system is unfair and unconstitutional. KEET contributor Ryan Hutson was there and brings us the following report.
Humboldt County has responded to a federal lawsuit filed by the Institute for Justice regarding the county's allegedly unconstitutional enforcement of perceived code violations via its cannabis abatement program, which began in 2018. The property rights lawsuit was filed on behalf of abated county residents who were denied constitutional rights, according to the Institute for Justice lawyers, who say the group of residents they represent never grew cannabis, but also can't get their day in court. And in the meantime, they face crippling fines and cannot develop their land. Even now that cannabis cultivation is legal, elements of the former framing of the herb as a social blight still color government perception. Referencing the satellite imagery relied on to target rural parcels with identifiable greenhouses, John Ford said, "If cannabis is going to be a legal and regulated product, the illegal portion of it needed to be addressed, and it needed to be addressed in a proactive way."
Like I said, they're doing this all without probable cause. They're not inspecting your land. They're just doing sweeps with the satellite program. They're levying the fines. They're scaring the hell out of people, and they're saying, "Pay us some money and we'll go away." So we filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the people who have been abated, asked for their hearing, and not received one. And we've raised 5 constitutional issues in the case. When the government accuses you of something, you have a right to a meaningful opportunity to be heard. And the way they've designed this program is, one, you don't get heard at all, so it can't be meaningful. But they've structured the appeal system in a way that even if you are heard, it's not meaningful. They are accusing you without probable cause, and they post a notice in the newspaper to tell all of your neighbors that you have grown cannabis without a permit based on no proof that that's the case. And then that you appeal, they don't give you a hearing. You send images to show that there's no cannabis in your greenhouse. You tear down your greenhouse to show that the greenhouse is gone. They don't care that there's no proof of a violation. They will not dismiss the penalties. And the second one, they call it substantive due process. And basically what it means is, like, the government has no interest in what you do on your land unless you're harming someone else in the community. Because, like, the citizens are the government here, and you just don't have a right to tell people how to use their property unless they're causing some sort of outward harm to the community. And they should have to have proof that you have violated the code before they levy these fines, and they're just not doing that. Our third claim is excessive fines, and I don't think I really need to explain that one very much because these fines are insane. Like, Rhonda Olson faces $7.4 million in fines right now, and like, I've been to her property several times. The one, it's literally a vacant piece of land. Like, and there used to be hoop houses, and decades ago, a timber company had graded some of the land, and that we have in writing from the code enforcement department, and says, we know that grading might have been there since the 80s, but then someone grew cannabis on that land, so now it all needs to be put back to its pre-cannabis state. And unless you put the land back to its pre-cannabis state, because like the land is somehow now like dirty and tainted because it's had weed on it. So unless you correct that, you're facing $7.4 million of fines. And by the way, you only have 10 days to do so. And our fourth claim is it's called unconstitutional conditions. The government cannot withhold a benefit from you unless you agree to give up one of your constitutional rights. And whether that's your constitutional right to a hearing or the right to something on your property, the government cannot extort you into giving up your constitutional rights in exchange for a permit that you would be entitled to. The fifth claim that we brought is under the 7th Amendment, that you should have a right to a jury on these issues. And that issue of fact about whether you built the greenhouse to grow cannabis, that is something that a jury of your peers should decide and not some law firm that the county hired. And so those are the 5 claims that we brought. We brought them on behalf of Rhonda Olson and the Thomases and Blue Graham, but we also brought them on behalf of a class of people here in Humboldt who have been affected by this program and who have asked for their chance to be heard and have been denied that right by the government. And like the government, we always say the government works for you guys. Literally, you guys are the government. They're just your representatives, and they should be working for you and not trying to extract as much money as they can out of the community under this question.
And they say $10,000 a day times 7 violations, that's $70,000 a day. And I mean, I went running in there. I got abated on a Thursday. I was in their office at Monday at 9 o'clock. What's up? How do we fix this? Just come onto my property. Come see, there's nothing on there. So the way they extort you is they say, you owe 70 grand a day, you're already in 6 days in, whatever that math is. Good luck. You know, you've got money for a lawyer. You can go to a hearing, but you're going to lose because we hire the judge that's going to hear the case, and he's going to side with us, even though we have no actual evidence of what we're accusing you of. But you could just come and pay us $30,000, and you could sign this compliance agreement saying you won't sue us, pay us $30,000 and sign the settle agreement. Don't go to a hearing because you're going to lose. That's extortion.
Referring to the lawsuit as premature and meritless, the county's legal defense denies the allegations entirely, saying that the whole story reflects appropriate and timely efforts to cure plaintiffs' violations, which were either fully resolved or remaining pending, according to the county's filed response.
I think the important thing here is that there are a lot of people in Humboldt County who are just like really hurting at a human level, and they've come out here. A lot of them live off the grid, and they moved to Humboldt for the right to be left alone, and they achieved that for decades. And now, after legalization, the county thought that it would be making more money than it was, or whatever their motive is, and they have used that as a hook to reach out through their satellite images and through their code enforcement to reel these people in and try to squeeze them for every dollar that they have. And there's no constitutional process in place, and we brought this action to try to make sure that the county will comply with the federal constitution. If there is a nuisance on a property, then the county can come in and force people to correct that nuisance. But they can't be using their nuisance abatement program for cash generation and just extracting as much money as they can through coercive and extortive means out of the community.
Wind blowing off Humboldt County. That's it for tonight. I'd like to express gratitude tonight for our freelance crew who does such great reporting. I mean, I think we had in-depth stories that no other entity had this week, so I really appreciate the work of Eric Black and Ryan Hutson. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Stay informed.